When I first started, I started out on a Casio keyboard. I was like 12, 13. That's back in 2000. I know if you read some of the other interviews, you probably seen the story, but my brother had an old Casio keyboard sitting in the basement, and I cut school on that day, actually. When I first started, the first day I actually messed with that keyboard. So I was like, damn, I got to keep myself, I got to stay low until at least 3 o'clock. So, I'm sitting in the basement, a bunch of records and stuff. And my brother, he just had this Casio keyboard sitting in the cut on the bench press, on the actual seat and all that. So, I took the keyboard, plugged it up, and I was just messing around with it. And, after sitting down for a couple hours messing around with it, I started learning like sequencing and all that and just putting stuff together. And then before you know it, I was just playing my own melodies and all that stuff. And then I eventually moved up and came up on the Yamaha DJX2, which actually introduced me to sampling, which I accidentally discovered by accident. And I learned, like I always tell people the story when they ask me about it, but I actually learned the art of making beats backwards. I learned how to chop up samples before I actually learned how to loop. So people kept always thinking I was trying to sound like Premiere and all that back in the day, but no, that was really like, that's how I actually learned, because if you was familiar with the Yamaha DJX2, it was like the cheap version of the ASR, but it chopped the sample up and it put on all the keys. So I'll just be sitting there playing the melodies out through the samples. So I think when I first started, as soon as I started making beats, I knew that's what I wanted to do. And like I said, like going on later on after the DJX2, my man Divine God I Lost, shout out to him. He actually taught me how to use the original MPC 2000, which was a whole new world to me. I'm like, oh shit, this got an actual sequencer. It actually loops back as you play and all that. So he taught me the basics of it. Then my older brother, Sight, he had a 2000 XL, but when he first got it, it was just sitting in the box. So I couldn't wait till he finally opened it up. So I used to go there, sneak on that, mess around with that, learn some more stuff. I'm like, yo, this shit right here is dope. Like, I got to give me one of those. And it actually motivated me to get my first job, which was at a McDonald's, which I almost got fired for working mad hours, trying to save up and get the machine. So once I finally got it and I had my own shit, I'm like, yo, I was like stumped for a minute. I was like, damn, I got this MPC, but I don't got no turntable samples. So I was actually sampling stuff off of my Walkman and my CD player. I had a little auxiliary joint. So going from there, making beats and all that on there, and going, yo, this shit dope. Like I said, at that point right there, I want to take it serious.
I mean, my dad used to play all the greats back in the 80s and the 90s. I was born in 86. So, he came, Rakim, DMC, you know what I'm saying, Public Enemy, all that, you know what I'm saying, early on, you know what I'm saying. As I got older, like in high school, that's when I started messing with it a little bit. I always was a fan, like you were saying. I always was a fan, but in high school, that's when I first got into the booth. You know what I'm saying? I used to record in my high school at this where they did the announcements. The teachers did all the announcements. In the morning, we go in there and lunchtime, and I would write and record. You know what I'm saying? Put a little project out in high school. And 05 is when I put my first project out. It was called The Chronicle. And you know what I'm saying? I started networking. I met Quest. Started traveling a little bit. Not coast to coast, but in upstate New York, stuff like that. And from there on, just honing the skills and learning more as I go. Trying to get better.